Alright guys, we're going to talk about the Umbrella Academy Season 1, Episode 2.
Here we are.
So I learned something about this show over the last couple of days.
Uh-oh.
Do you know who wrote this?
No? Wait. I looked it up, but I forget. Who?
It is the singer from My Chemical Romance.
Nice.
Isn't that nice?
That is nice.
To know that a rich, talented person can do multiple things.
Not since Coheed and Cambria have I seen a comic book thing. He wrote the comic book?
Yeah.
Okay, and then it's been adapted. I think the person running the show or like adapting the show is also someone that did something else that I like. That's what I thought.
I'll believe it.
Yo.
Okay,
it's episode 2. There's a few things that happened here.
Couple of things. What do you want to start with?
Yeah, in the beginning, because there's just a few points to make sense of here, right?
Start us out.
So 5, so we find out, they show us him, and it's like bookended, right? We have a flashback to like that first day of when he did it, right? So like it's kind of goofy, but I also kind of like it. In my notes, I'm like, I guess because they're kids, that's cool. So he just literally stormed out one day and was like, I'm time traveling. Like it wasn't this big thing that happened. He was just like, you don't understand me, and like walked outside and started doing it. And I'm like, okay, cool. I expected some sort of, because like to come back, it was this big deal. I expected a big deal, but like in the flashbacks, he even looks younger. They like do his hair differently, and he seems to be like thinner almost. Like he like is like framed up differently, so he looks like a younger somehow. Does that make sense? Did you see that? I don't know if I'm making that up.
I didn't notice a big difference in his age, but I'll believe it. He
was subtle.
Kempt before, and now he's unkempt. So
yeah, it's like a subtle thing or whatever. But I liked how when he jumps from one side of the table to the other, it's like slower. It takes time, and he has to like move his body differently. Because in the present now, he's just doing stuff and like able to jump really fast. So subtle things like that on shows where people have powers, or when you have to get something across without really explaining it. I like when they're able to do that. And by the same token, they show him like trying to go back, and he's like doing it, and like the stuff's appearing, but like zzz, and he like can't make it happen or whatever. That effect, because that comes up later on too, when he's like trying to jump but can't jump or whatever. And I'm
he
like,
gets spent,
that's
his
awesome.
energy's out or something.
Yeah, or some. So later with the mannequin, I think he can't move that much mass or something like that. I'm not sure.
I think that definitely affects him.
Yeah, I'm like, this is awesome, because you're like, wait, because he can like move his clothes from one place to another. So there has to be something like that. But I think he like couldn't bring the mannequin with him, something like that. But like I don't know yet, but I'm intrigued, and like that's the right way to do those things with powers. You slowly peel it out, and we're seeing that with a lot of the characters, right? Like you called out, Luther's arm is like, it's hairy, and is that him healing? Like what's going on or whatever, right? I love finding out slowly about stuff like that. So I was a huge fan of that whole business.
Yeah, and we see what's the guy's name? The knife guy?
Diego.
Diego like throws an impossible knife shot.
He throws impossible knife shots. That's his thing.
But there's a difference between like, that's an impossible shot, like that's 1 in a million,
dude,
versus
perfect.
like, this is actually not a possible shot.
I think in the flashback to the bank robbery, he throws the knives, and then they like do like a hard left turn. Like,
I didn't catch that in the original one.
Yeah, I feel like he literally has some sort of power to like make things do
like he's
something.
Actually a telekinetic,
So
but he manifests it by
expresses
throwing
it
knives.
through knives. It's a knife-oriented power, I suspect, But again, like we keep knocking this out, like for everybody, there's something going on where I'm like, oh, wait a minute, like, and that's how I want to learn about powers. Like honestly, I don't want some chart with like Beast and Professor X being like, it's over 9,000. Like I don't want to do that anymore. I want it to be this.
It's fun to explore.
Yeah, this organic, dirty process where like you could rewatch from episode 1 and like know so much more about how it works for people. Like I'm into it. Anyway.
So
who do you want to talk about? Spin the wheel, pick a character.
Well, let's continue with 5. So so 5 has like, and we see when he jumps from like portal to portal to portal, going back in time. You're like oh, like originally he was going back because he was like, oh, that was like the 70s or something, and then it's
like snowing and then whatever.
Far forward.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I like that. That was cool. It's very subtle. It happens in like a split of a second for each one of those jumps, but they are there and they are cool.
Yeah, they kind of like, I don't know how much of it is CG or dressing or whatever, but it's the same street, right?
Yeah.
And then in the future, he runs back like half a block to like his address and goes, oh, it's all on fire and shit. Like yeah, exactly. I like that.
No, it's cool.
Going through time instead of space, right? Whatever he was talking about. with the eye, like sliding across the ice versus diving into the cold, dark water. And I'm like,
But that analogy got even better. Is like as opposed to diving through the ice into the cold water and coming out an acorn.
I know. I'm leaving out the acorn part because I couldn't pull it off.
That's the best part.
Because later he says, I acorned it, and Vanya's like, what are you talking about? He's like, you're an idiot. Like, I don't know. I can't talk to you people or something like that. I'm like, okay, cheers. Awesome. Yeah.
Him and Fritz are trying to track down where this eye that he found comes from.
Who's Fritz?
Is not his name Fritz?
Oh, Klaus?
Klaus. I knew it was a German name.
I thought you were talking about his name on the other show you watched him on or something like that.
No, his name is Nathaniel there? I don't know.
Yeah, if we stay with 5, so he has this eye, which you find out...
Him and Fritz,
German
eccentric.
Garfunkel and Oates are there. He has the eye, and I love that he goes on his own and tries as a kid, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a kid. I found it or something." And he's making this face like, "Fuck you!" Like just do the thing I want you to do. Like he's so impatient.
It's perfectly Doctor Who-y.
It's great, and then he's like, "Okay, I need a dad, right?" And then he gets Klaus to come back with him, right? For the promise of $20 and like whatever else.
Where's my $20?
Right? And it's like,
I'm a bit hungry.
Is that all you could think about is getting high? And he's like, no, I'm also a bit hungry and all that stuff. Like he's such a dandy lad, like this awesome thing.
He's very good. Very good.
Like
when he bashes himself in the head with the fucking thing and punches his brother in the face, his son.
What about my consent?
When you touched my son, I never touched your son.
Yeah. So like
splits his lip promptly.
I love that so much because it works for me, even though I'm like, that's just the Fight Club thing. Are there no security cameras at this like crazy?
The whole office is glass.
Yeah. No, I know, but like I still liked it, so I know that the show must be good because I was still fine with it. I love the character details. I love Klaus having to before and after doing all that, he has to talk about it. Mm-hmm. He has to be like, okay, and who should we say was your mother? Oh, that bitch, she abandoned us. Oh, but the sex was awesome. We met here, we did that. And he's doing all these dumb things, and then afterwards, like, did you like the part when I said that? Like, it just happened, and he has to be like, oh, that part was awesome. Oh, it still hurts though. Oh, and he's still going on and on about it, like his character, and so
he's still covered in snow glitter.
Yeah, he's still covered in like the little bits. He like spits out like a chunk of the snow globe and all that stuff, and he just keeps going on and on about it. And like 5 is so impatient and like nothing works. This is awful, and he just jumps into like a passing thing. There, just keep driving.
And
like, shut up.
That guy is like the boss of the world. If someone just was in the backseat of my car, oh yeah, we're dead.
Immediately,
we're dead.
I know. And he just goes, and he's like, keep driving. Like, he's so preoccupied with like the weight of like this life that he's led, and knowing that he's trying to prevent the apocalypse, and he's so frustrated with all the people around him.
He's got 7 days, dude.
It's
like The Ring.
It's great. It's this wonderful thing, and that kid is amazing. I don't know what he's gonna do in the future.
Whatever he wants.
I don't have the ability to time travel, but well, I wonder if he's gonna grow up to just be like a normal adult, though, right? But he has something special as a kid, which is gonna be so. Keep churning stuff out.
I don't know, because there's like a lot of child actors where I'm like, oh, they were really good, but they were still child actors, and this guy feels like an actor as a child.
Right.
And how old was he really? We saw him in the thing. 14?
Yeah, like he's small for his age or something like that.
Yeah, I think he's smaller for his age.
No, yeah. So we saw him at Comic-Con, and he starts talking, and he's just that person.
Yeah,
he's just an adult.
We had not known anything about the show, and the announcer guy's like, so you're playing a 58-year-old man, and like it's like, oh, he is a 58-year-old man.
And he's like, that's right, yeah. And he's just very like there was no like, oh, someone's coached him through how to, and maybe he was acting for the panel, which is even better. Like, what the hell, right? He was just on it. He was wearing like a tiny suit, like he was doing the whole thing. Good times. Anyway. Is that everything that happens with? So like the bookend with 5, because at the end, there's something in the middle.
There's more.
We have to work in. Let's just so at the end you find out that he went into the rubble and all the other people were dead.
Yes.
And like he didn't maybe even recognize them, but like Luther had the eye and it was still bloody and it was in his fingertips.
Yeah, it's very strange because he So he's, even though he's like an older man, and they are older in time, and he has traveled, I don't know if there's enough tells on any of them to actually know who they were, aside from the fact that they're in the rubble of his house.
He saw the tattoo.
Yes, but to know who's who, rather. And,
Exactly,
and
yeah.
the first half, he's like, oh, this and that. Oh. Yeah. Who was it? It was Klaus's arm they saw?
Yeah, he sees Klaus's tattoo and stuff.
Yeah.
So he was all confused and like, what's going on? And then starts putting it together and all that stuff. Yeah, I don't know if he knew who was who necessarily, but like in retrospect now, I love that when he came back, he wasn't like, it's you, right? It's you. Like he wasn't doing. He was just like, nope, gotta get to the point. I got something to do here, right? And like that. Yeah, like the retroactive character development of that, of being like, that's because you're an idiot, and then goes back to the thing, all that stuff. I was like, okay, good. Like he should have been like I literally haven't seen you since you were like my age, my physical body's age. Then I saw you briefly as a corpse, and then I lived a whole lifetime, and now I'm so happy to see you again or whatever, right? It just skipped over all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Man, right?
Well, at some point, he clearly traveled in time again.
Oh, yeah?
Well, it has to be, based on the premise of the episode. He is an older man at some point. He does age out through his whole life. He works for these Assassins Guild at some point.
Oh, I don't know what's happening with that. But
I don't think it's my guess. I think it seemed clear enough that it has to be fact that he worked for them.
So let's talk about Hazel and Cha-Cha.
Hazel and Cha-Cha. Do we know which one's Hazel and which one's Cha-Cha?
We do, but I can't tell you. I forget who was who. I looked it up because I was like, so I heard Mary J. Blige was on this show.
I think Cha-Cha's Mary J. Blige.
I think so, but I don't know what Mary J. Blige looks like anymore. So I was like, is that her?
I know what she looks like.
Does
that
she
is her.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for her. So episode 1 ends, and I'm like, episode 2 will pick up with some of the other babies that we didn't get.
Right.
And I'm like, Mary J. Blige is pretty old to be on the same pattern as them.
Okay.
And I'm like, I don't know how that's going to work.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, it's because she's not. And it works fine.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, they are time-traveling assassins.
Yeah. And they kind of like display it in like the best way, where they're complaining, and it's very real dialogue.
Yeah.
And he's like, this thing's so freaking heavy. Can't they make it into a backpack? And then later they're like, oh, time traveling without a briefcase is dangerous and all that other stuff, right?
Yeah.
So he went back, and like they're like time cops chasing him to kill him, basically.
I have a thought, which may or may not be correct, that the end of the world is not exactly the end of the world. Maybe it is a event that changes everything so fundamentally that the world in quotes has ended.
Yeah.
Like maybe New York and a couple other major cities got exploded, and it sent us into a thing, and now we're like, no longer a democracy, and shit's gone crazy.
It's a
or
dystopian
whatever.
Future of some sort.
That's kind of because like I'm trying to paint in my head what are the scenarios in which this could be a thing, and I'm like, well, if we establish a world where there are time police or time assassins or whatever they are, time travel exists. He could be from the future. He could be from the past. Like, he could have sprang back up in the 60s, lived out a whole bunch of time, moved again. Like, there could be a whole lot of different things. It might have just been that he couldn't get back to where he wanted to go. We know at some point he ages because he's in their picture as an old man.
The old picture of him.
A terribly aged 58-year-old man. Like, terribly.
I just took it at face value, his comments about having been alone for a long time or whatever. And that I assumed like something was going on. So these are like time cops that are coming after him because of something that happened with him with time, or like he's the cause. His time travel was the cause of the problem, something like that, or whatever. I wasn't sure exactly.
The reason that made me think something else has to be afoot is because in order to have a picture of him when he's old, there have to be more people alive.
I know, yeah, exactly.
So that has to be a thing. Or he lived out his early day, his years in a different time period.
Yeah.
And yes, time cops could still be a thing from a billion years in the future, and just detecting time travel anomalies and have to fix it. But it's hard to say.
I don't know. I took it as time cops. I'm not sure because they didn't know.
He was whatever they are because they said we never had to hunt one of our own before.
Oh, okay.
Now that could either mean a time traveler, which I wouldn't think so, or it means someone who worked for them, and that's what I assume.
That I like. Okay, that line I did not pick up on to put into. I actually hadn't theorized about this at all. I was just letting it feed me whatever. It didn't
make any sense to me, so I've been wildly running theories in my head for a little while now.
Well, so I'm assuming that the eye though is Hazel or Cha-Cha's eye because the eye hasn't been made yet. So the eye's from the future or something like that? Is that not the case?
Well, not made yet is in quotes. The eye can only get made in the next 8 days.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's
That's
Hazel
true.
or Cha-Cha's eye.
So it's a whole other person's eye?
I would wager.
I guess. This eye hasn't been manufactured yet, he says? Yeah.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
That can mean it's manufactured tomorrow. Or like,
yeah, well, it could. I took it to mean that is like an unused serial number, and like I've been assuming, like you have, that for whatever reason 5 was alone for a long time, but that the world has other people in it for obvious reasons.
I don't know. So even if a minor cataclysm of event or something happened and destroyed that whole facility, presumably it would destroy the reason to not start numbering over again at 0, like, because the records would all be destroyed.
Well, yeah, I don't know if they're going to be included in whatever happens or what's really going to happen at the end of the day anyway. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, we'll find out. A lot of speculation to be had.
No, it's fun though. I feel okay about not knowing what's going on though. The show's been paced out. We only have 2 episodes, so I'm expecting a neat little thing. Hazel and Cha-Cha though, they have a whole set piece. We got the good hotel dialogue, kind of an overly gross torture scene of the tow truck driver.
He had it coming.
Did he?
Yeah, buying a child a donut or coffee or whatever.
Completely innocent in every way.
Tow truck, they gouged you. He deserved it.
Yeah. I was like, oh, just having those jumper cables on your nipples would be terrifying, let alone the electricity that he's zapping.
You got to think, it almost only works because he's older. Yeah. Your skin is so much looser that they could pull it enough that you could get the clampers on.
So just seeing that, I was like, oh, no.
It's like how old people can eat boiling hot coffee.
Stop it.
He's probably fine.
Stop doing it. But he's super dead.
I did expect a jump scene, honestly. I thought he was not going to be dead. I thought when when the cop first came in there, you were going to get like a thing, and then something happened.
To be a thing.
But no.
So he's dead, and then they move on. So that was, I think, part of why I did think that 5 was just in the future alone for a long time. He could be anywhere, and that's like a better thing for it to be. If he's hiding in time from the time cops for like a long time, in different zones. Like zones of time, they go to the department store because that's their one lead. The tow truck driver who was like, I told him where this place was or whatever. Because apparently Dolores was a mannequin or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I normally hate, but something about this.
The moment he went to the department store, I was like, oh, it's gonna be an I Am Legend thing.
Yep. It's gonna be a thing, and it was a thing. Hazel and Cha-Cha are there though to intercept them, and they have some future tech. They have some terrifying helmets that go on their heads, go and like inflate or something like that, which I think is cool because I'm not sure how it works, and it feels like a future thing that's like dumb.
I took it at the like what is it, the Occam's razor type of thing. Like the very simplest solution would be just that you don't want anyone to ever know your face if they can time travel. They could go back in time and kill you before you ever went to go get them.
Oh yeah.
And so I just think it's
no. It's 100% fine. It's like cool that
they're very goofy masks. That's for sure.
It's cool that they're goofy masks. The fact that it's this weird thing that goes over your whole head and then like inflates almost, but they can still see fine or whatever. I'm not sure what's inside of there. If it's like,
I just assume that's like a
Iron
standard
Man or whatever.
Halloween mask from like 2077. I was just like, yep, there we are. They're time travelers. That's a mask.
It felt futury though in like a way that was like dirty and real and like weird to me. That I was like, like you're saying, I like bought into it completely. I wasn't like, why do they have goofy masks on? I was like, oh, weird. That's great. A dumb thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And they shoot up the place, and then the cops come and they get away, and then 5 seemingly also gets away. And I'm not sure how he does that with the cops like right in front of the store, but whatever.
Well, we don't see 5 literally get away yet. We just see that he hasn't been killed. They think he teleported out, and he's just there.
But then
he might just teleport as soon as his energy comes back.
I was gonna say if it's not the mass and if it's energy or whatever, he ends up back at the mansion though. Mm-hmm. He ends up back talking to Vanya. No. To Allison and Luther. Let's segue there if we're done with 5.
Real quick, back to 5 is that
5.
You see he kills Cha-Cha.
It's all 5
and then
all
when
the
he
time.
teleports like I feel like and changes the timeline again.
What?
And she's back alive.
Oh.
You didn't see he took that scalpel and slit her throat. And then he teleported, and then she was shooting again.
I saw him like attack, but I thought that it hit the mask, and like that's why she wasn't actually dead.
Maybe I read it wrong.
Okay.
I thought that he killed her, and then accidentally, in his haste, teleported and time jumped
into a different dimension,
earlier when she wasn't dead. And I was like, oh, poor bastard.
That would be awesome. It was very subtle. Then
I'd have to watch it again to know if I was right or wrong.
No, I was a little confused because I thought he like got her, and then I just assumed because she was was doing her thing again, that he didn't get her, and like the mask protects them or something like that.
I don't know, just because it was the moment after a jump is when she started shooting again. So I was like, oh, he jumped back in time.
That would be a dope, awesome little like thing to have in the episode. If true, I would love that.
Yeah. I'll never actually go back and look.
No, we're not doing any work.
Let us know in the comments.
Hell no. Let us know in the comments if you've already binged the whole show and you know exactly what the answer is.
Yeah.
And then you can delete that comment, please. Okay. Just real quick, because he gets back to the mansion, there's not much else to say. Allison's been watching these tapes that Pogo showed her, and she found something in the tapes. Oh my god, I have to tell everyone about this. I don't know what that's going to be. I can't wait to find out.
I'm very interested in what that could be, because Pogo says he stopped recording X amount of whatever's ago. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, if years ago he stopped recording, she's noticing something older that
somehow is important right now.
Yeah, and I wonder.
Yeah.
Or that'll be an error, and there'll be a recording that is modern.
Oh, she says, you were right about Dad. I have to show you something, right? Right?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Can't wait to find out.
I'm very curious. We got a little bit more of Ben, also with Klaus earlier.
Which one's Ben?
Ben's the dead brother.
Oh, Ben's great. That whole scene was amazing. Let me call out the Goody Two Shoes montage or whatever. I think the music is really well used on this show.
Yeah, the music in this show is what the Suicide Squad wanted based on their trailer.
100%. Yeah, like a show that's trying to use like well-known or popular music and set it to little set-piece montages and be hip and stuff like that. And that if it's the My Chemical Romance guy, maybe that's a part of that or something like that. But yeah, with Hazel and Cha-Cha, that's Queen. That's Supersonic or whatever. They call me Mr. Fahrenheit. I love that song. And that was an awesome use of that song.
There could be a really interesting thing here, though, too, with licensing music, where if he is on like the Warner Brothers music or whatever, he might be able to get access at you know.
He has the Rob Zombie Hall Pass.
Maybe.
Where he's like, can I get that catalog over here? Ooh, that's amazing.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, because Goody Two Shoes starts playing, and it's an awesome thing for the Klaus character.
Yeah.
And it's a montage of him throwing the stuff in the box, right? And Pogo drops that too. We have all this intrigue, right? He's like, the things in that box are priceless. If they were to find their way back into the office,
yeah,
I'd be
and
whatever.
he can't find them because they're
in a dumpster
yesterday.
Somewhere.
He threw it in a dumpster.
You don't think we're gonna get a shot of him like digging through the trash?
You know what? I actually take back it being impossible,
like
because yesterday he threw it in at midday. Depending on what time, it's possible they could still be there.
It's also a TV show, so I feel like he can just go back to that dumpster and start digging through it and be like, I'm covered in noodles. This is disgusting.
Oh, that'll happen anyway.
Yeah.
It's whether he finds
whether it's actually in there, yeah. So I don't know what's in there. It seemed like different papers, like a small bound book or something, right?
Yeah.
So some sort
Pogo's diary.
Some sort of awesome information. Pogo, spring break, him like doing stuff, embarrassing photos. I can't let those leak out. Yeah, be awesome.
I've got a series of skills.
Okay.
Pogo could do a keg stand like nobody's business.
Exactly. He got those muscles, right? Chimpanzees are terrifying.
You know it.
Is he a chimpanzee? I think he is.
I took it as it.
Some sort of chimpanzee.
Well, his name is was it
Pogo?
Pogo. In my head when they first introduced him, I went Pogo the bonobo.
Yeah.
But I don't know what a bonobo is.
It's a monkey.
I don't know enough about what kind of monkey it is.
I almost said it's a monkey, and then I'm like, those bastards on the internet are always like, no, it's an ape. It's not a monkey. Okay, please know the difference.
Yeah, shut up.
And I'm like, I refuse to know the difference. On porpoise, dolphin. Thank you. The cop lady and Diego have a whole subplot here.
Yeah.
Because
they used to date.
Yeah, they used to date, obviously. I don't know if they quite say that. I think
it is heavily implied,
extremely
if not
obvious.
stated.
I was going to say, like, it's very obvious to me, at least.
They went to the academy together.
And he, like, got, washed out or, like, failed at trying to be a cop, right? They have all this great stuff happening there. So, like, it's also maybe subtle, but like whenever Diego's walking around, there's like other cops who are like, "Hey man, what's up?" And he's like, "Hey," like everyone loves Diego or something.
Yeah.
But she's like,
that's
listen.
a universal truth. It seems at the gym the same thing happens. Like people
everyone
loves
loves Diego.
Him.
Yeah. And like, but this cop lady like has his number, and she's like, "Absolutely not." And he's like, "Come on!" And she goes like, "Listen, all this stuff, all this that you hate, that's how we get convictions or whatever, right?" And that's the old.
I want him to be like, "I just kill them.
I just murder them. I murdered him. No, I know. And like certain people you should murder. Certain people are like super villains with powers that maybe the cops can't fight. But she has a great point. That's the old meme of like, well, I found these criminals tied up and there was a note from a superhero, but like that's not going to hold up in court. Like how can I, what do I do now, right? Spider-Man just found these I don't know, like, and like the judge is like, Spider-Man, the like wanted criminal vigilante, said that they robbed a bank. Like there was no camera. Like how did we prove it was that, right? All those stupid memes about superheroes and all that stuff. So like I like that they're calling it out here.
Sure, and especially his particular power of I stab you.
Knives. Of killing, of murdering. Listen, my methods might be unorthodox. Your methods are. Like,
I picture him in the police academy, like throwing bullets, and it's like Wanted, except for not shooting them.
Yeah, he just goes, blink, does the whole thing. I wonder what his powers, what the limits are, how it all works. Yeah,
it appears to be.
Well, because in episode 1, and like he also is just like fit and like physically whatever.
Yeah.
So that might just be like I've chosen to augment my specific power with a general level of fitness and like agility.
That would be my assumption.
That's what it appears like. I can't wait to find out. Possibly more. I like her calling him out too. Of like, no, you just do that to prove to yourself that your whole childhood spent running around with a mask on wasn't all for nothing, right? Like she cuts deep onto his like thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Felt accurate though.
It's great. It's a whole deconstruction of that whole, because like, oh, he lives in like the back room of a boxing gym, because of course he does.
It's actually amazing.
What do you mean?
That room is gigantic.
Yeah.
He mops.
I know.
He mops for rent. That is what he does.
Yes.
Who wouldn't do that?
He should be living in like a tiny closet or something like that. Yeah,
it should be a boiler and his little cot. Yeah. It is huge. It is a lot of real estate.
I thought you meant that it was amazing that he had that arrangement or that he lived there.
I don't know how you even get that arrangement, but yes, that's amazing too.
The apartment is obviously amazing, though. The like room in the back room, right? And you expect this thing, yeah. So
it made me think like, if I like won the lottery, it would be a fun thing to do. Is like some shitty token business that oh, it's a laundromat, and you go into the back door and it's like your office. Like
it's a whole fake front, like Archer has the things and it goes in. Yeah. We always wanted that, like a shack in the woods where you walk in there and it's just like a crappy, stupid thing, and then you like do the right thing, and then there's
downstairs,
there's like an elevator that goes down to like a giant compound.
The first time I ever saw underground houses, in school, like in contracting, learning about underground houses, I'm like, so you pull up and it's just a garage in the middle of nowhere, and then in the garage is the staircase that goes to your fucking house.
It's the best.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I need that.
Yeah, I need 10 of those. What's on the tapes? The eye hasn't been made yet. 5 looks younger. Luther living on the moon.
Yeah, hasn't been explained yet.
They touch on it briefly, which I think is just random dialogue, but something about it.
They say defending us from up there, but I think that's just what you would say to your child.
She's like, I used to tell this kid that you were up there protecting us from harm, right? Was like the line or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I'm interested if that's a tease towards something. We don't know yet, obviously.
See,
right?
I wouldn't take it as anything other than just a common said to children.
I know.
Who other characters did we not have?
Vanya.
The rumor girl's losing everything.
Yeah. No, she's having a bad time, right? Yeah. That phone call too. Like, there's a way to do this whole thing of like, well, you have powers, but they don't solve all your problems, and you're still a person. And this, I feel like it's doing a great job. She's like, it was my dad's funeral, you son of a bitch.
Well, hers in particular shows just how much self-restraint she has. Because let me speak to my daughter. No, blah blah blah. I heard a rumor you're going to be talking to my daughter.
Exactly. She could just instantly take care of it.
So the idea that she doesn't have everything she wants, just at her beck and call, literally, it shows that she is a restrained, adjusted human being.
It implies that something may have happened in the past that's caused her to not use her powers for personal gain.
She said in the first episode.
She made a comment. Yeah. She said, well, I tried it and it went really bad, right, or whatever. And I'm like, okay, interesting. All right, I like that.
Yeah, there'll be a flashback to that, probably in episode 3 or 4.
I feel like we're going to keep doing this where the episode focuses on like 1.5 characters and like great detail and moves everything else along a little bit.
Else. Yeah.
So next
time. And that's
a
good way of doing it, because there's a lot of characters here you could get lost in a shuffle.
Yeah. They're going to pick someone next time and be like, guess what? Here's why I lived on the moon, and like go into the whole thing or whatever. I hope it's not him. I just said that. I want to be surprised. Vanya gives violin lessons to some creepy dude.
Oh, he's definitely a villain.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Good. He's a creepy dude.
He will get painted for 90% of the season as her potential future love interest, and then you're going to find out he's like Agent Number 12, Murderer Mix-7, something like that.
So I really hope, because like you said it earlier, and like I hope that's not the show, but I hope that there's an element there of the other babies and like
Has to be.
whatever powers they may or may not have, right?
It
And
has to be. And Ellen Page has to have powers.
so did you read my note on the bottom there?
I can't
That's
read.
my last note. Is Vanya has powers? I was like, you obviously have powers. Something about something just made me.
She's got super dance powers. She can dance.
Her music changes the. No, I think she has a power that's like subtle or like hard to. It hasn't unlocked yet, or it's been affecting things, but in like a weird way or something like that. There's something going on that's. I think like in retrospect, it's gonna be obvious what her power should have been or like was or whatever, and I cannot wait to get into that. But yeah, something about this episode and like the way the characters get framed up led me to write down at the bottom of my notes, Vanya has powers. Just something little thing. I'm calling it here.
Yeah, I'll be the first one to guess it once I think of something, but at the moment, no idea.
We don't know what they are, but just something about like there's a way to do a show like this where it was a 1 in a million chance, and all the other babies are dead, and blah blah blah, and you don't have none of them have powers. It's confirmed, right? You could act like that's solidly a thing, and this feels different. This feels like she's gonna have powers somehow.
There was a comic.
She'll be the most powerful
about a group of superpowered individuals called the Freshmen, and the main character, which would be her character, I guess, had no powers.
Right.
And like, it's not that you can't do it. There's not. This wouldn't be setting some no precedence about not having powers, but something about, and I guess you could say. Because Ellen Page is the most famous person in the show. My gut would say there's something special about her. So either it's her coming to terms with these powers, or maybe that is what made Ellen Page gravitate towards the role. She's like, oh, and I'm the only one without powers? Oh, that's a meaty role for me. Okay, and like something like that. So maybe I'll give like a 20% chance that she has no powers.
Allow me to rephrase then.
Sure.
She is special.
Yeah,
she's gonna. There's gonna be something about her or something. She either knows something or like in the history of the whole thing, right? Something. The show has time travel. The show has crazy stuff, right?
My thought, if you had to make an unspecial person special, would be that the other people, the babies born in this, are in some other group, and they have some sort of a detector or something for powers, or an inhibitor or something, and she can like slide in unnoticed like an invisible person because she has no powers. I don't know. We'll see.
There's something. So like there is something more to it than just that she doesn't. I think that's what tips me off or triggered me to think this, because they're like, well, you didn't have to write that book, you didn't have to do this, and like Allison's, she's watching the tapes and she's like, why did we exclude Vanya like that? If someone treated Claire like that, I'd be so upset or whatever. Like something about
how much they lean into the fact that you're not special, you have no powers, you're nothing. It makes you think that they're going to do something, or it's the ultimate troll,
which would also be good. Either way, I'll be satisfied. But yeah, in episode 1, her father literally says, "There's nothing special about you." Like literally.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay.
And I have 6 such of these children. And you're like, oh, you have 7.
Someone on the side, yeah.
You paid for her. You can't return her, I guess.
She's defective.
Yeah.
This crazy old dude. I think that's everything that happened. Is there more?
That's all that I can recall from this episode.
Okay.
But yeah, good episode, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Let us know what you thought about this episode in the comments below. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.